Please don't drop. A graceful and warm welcome to our most valued guest, respected father, worthy faculty members, beloved students, and all gathered here. We are about to begin the first plenary session of ICCEEM 2025, organized by the Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce and Department of Managed Studies in collaboration with Internal Quality Assurance Cell. The theme of the conference this year is Advancing Management Education, Opportunities and Challenges. We have with us today an esteemed guest, an expert in the field of management, Dr. Ramendra Singh. I would request Reverend Father Dr. Joseph Kulundai to felicitate Sir with a bouquet. And Rio. And the Megan. Thank you, Father. Dr. Ramendra Singh is Professor of Marketing at IIM Calcutta. He completed PhD from IIM Ahmedabad, MBA from XLAI Jamshedpur, and BTech from IIT BHU. His research has been published in reputed international journals, including Journal of Business Research, International Marketing Review, Marketing Theory, Industrial Marketing Management, Journal of Personal Selling and Sales Management, and Journal of Information Technology. Dr. Singh has previously worked for several years in sales and marketing responsibilities in several multinational companies. He has also authored a textbook on sales and distribution management, which has been widely adopted in MBA programs at various IIMs. He has conducted several training programs at senior level and middle level management for several organizations. We are privileged to have you with us today. Now I will request Sir to take over the session.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you, and thank you to St. Xavier's College and everyone, staff, the faculty members, and Mr. Advisor for kindly inviting me. Good to see you. I guess you are mostly undergrad students and grad students. How many of you are undergrad? Bachelor student? I mean, just raise your hand.
But these are all
MCOM students. Okay. So MCOM. Okay. So I thought because if you're undergrad, then my talk is or would be about MBA. But anyway, you're most welcome to do MBA after MCOM also. So as you know, I'm from Ramendra. I'm Ramen Singh. I'm from IIM Calcutta. I teach marketing management as part of the MBA program that we run. Of course, in IIM Calcutta, we run many programs like MBA for executives and PhD program and a few more programs. but MBA becomes our flagship program that that helps us to also create brand names for IIMs. And we already know that there are some 21, 22 IIMs as of now, as of today in India. So my talk, and I'll try and keep it brief, and then we can open it up for your questions in case you have any questions. So is about MBA education, right? And there's a lot of critical thinking and reflective thinking that is going on about MBA education. So I could have tailored about the undergrad education, but I have never taught undergrad students, so I'm not very good in that. I don't have much, understanding about undergrad education, but I have some basic understanding about the postgrad education, specifically MBA. So my talk would be primarily about MBA education. Of course, this will have two sides to it. One would be the educator side, which is the faculty members. I see many faculty members here also, including myself. So it will have one side, which is how the management educators are also going to face challenges about the education that needs a rethinking. So that is why I'm labeled this as rethinking MBA education. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about would be about how management thinkers and management educators, MBA faculty members, and that may also some of the things that we'll talk about may also have an overlap with non-MBA education, which is some things are common. So it will have a side about MBA education from educator side, faculty side, as well as from the student side, right? And also from policymaker side, if you are sitting in the Ministry of Education, or if you are whoever that is thinking of redesigning MBA programs, or if you are recruiters like companies that come to recruit you. So it is an implication for them also, that what kind of education is imparted in the college and all that. So I will try and cover some of the basic thoughts that I have in that, right? So it will be slightly critical because, and I'm assuming that the fundamentals of MBA education. I mean, it's a 2-year program. There are some 1,500 or 2,000 colleges, MBA colleges, or B schools or universities, which include IIMs, XLRI, MDI, and so on, and a lot of universities which have their MBA program. So it includes various places where one can do MBA. I'm told that there are some 1,500 colleges or 2,000 colleges, roughly that. I'm not sure. In that ballpark, right? 2,000 colleges who offer MBA program. So MBA program is a 2-year program. Many universities, almost all university and IIMs give the MBA degree, Master of Business Administration. The non-IIM B schools like XLRI, MDI, and Narsee Monji, and a lot of others, private schools who are not universities cannot give MBA. They give a PGP degree, diploma, which is a postgraduate program in management, or PG. That's called PGPM, or it's also called PGBM, which is postgraduate diploma in management, which is equivalent to MBA. So that is broadly what MBA education is, 2-year, and it's considered to be your license to enter into corporate careers, even though it's not mandatory, but considered to be a license to enter corporate careers. So, and it has created a halo effect. So there's a lot of halo effect around MBA, and some of the myths around that also I can break as much as I can, and as much as I'm allowed to. So if I'm not covering anything which you are interested in, you can ask me during the Q&A session. So as I said, it's about rethinking MBA. So I'm not going to explain about the MBA education, which I've just summarized, that it's a 2-year program. You are taught lots of courses. There's a lot of activities and assignments and quizzes and exams and everything else. A lot of things happen in these schools. It's very, very hectic. Depending on which school you are trying to get into, depending on that, the difficulty level also rises. They say that CAT is an exam which is given by some 250,000 or around 3 lakh. I don't remember the number exactly, but somewhere between 250,000 to 270,000 people write CAT every year. Of course, not all of these people who write the exam are very serious, but definitely maybe half of them are serious, or maybe 1/3 are serious. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't have that number, but it's a very competitive exam. If you get a decent score, which is called some percentile, like 90 something percentile, and you are given an interview call, you appear for the interview, and then if you've done all the right things, you get an offer and you join, right? And then life starts. Of course, there are other myths around it also. So let me just start about rethinking MBA. So I'm just going to talk about what is probably not right about MBA. Of course, for that you need to know what is MBA and what are the things that go on in MBA. So if there are some missing gaps in understanding, let me know. So that you're able to appreciate before you appreciate the criticism. So this is what an MBA classroom, like maybe non-MBA classroom also may look like this, right? So I would especially ask the students, what is the good thing and the bad thing that you can see in this picture, or what you like and what you don't like in this picture. This is what a typical MBA classroom will look like. Definitely, it will look worse if you are in a university, depending on which university you are. But it doesn't look very different from even IIM classrooms. It can become worse also, right? So give or take here or there. Of course, every day is not same. Some days are good, some days are not so good. Depending on which day you're clicking the photograph, which faculty is teaching, and from which angle you're clicking the photograph, and who is the photographer. Depending on that, this photograph will change. But on this particular day, of course, this is not from India, but this might be from abroad, but doesn't matter. Indian classrooms look worse, right? And you know that very well. So anything good or anything bad about this picture that you see? If you can, anyone would like to comment anything on this? Anyone? Sorry?
Plastic bag on the desk in the classroom.
Plastic bag is the only thing that worries you? Yeah. If you're a faculty who's teaching in this such a class, what would be the most worrisome thing for you? Is it the phone in the hand of the student? Okay. So that may not be even a phone, that may be a video game, right? Which is even worse, right? And what else do you find annoying or disturbing or even good? So sorry, people in the, you can even maybe stand and speak or sit and speak, whichever way, but so that everybody can listen if you're saying something. Some students are sleeping, maybe many of them are sleeping. Some who are not sleeping might have finished their sleep, and those who are probably in the front might, that the teacher's voice might be disturbing their sleep, so therefore they are not able to sleep, right? So all kinds of activities are happening, right? And well, anyway, so what is the most worrisome for me would obviously be this guy and people like him who are least bothered about what is happening in the class, or even those guys who are sleeping who don't even bother to pay attention, etc. And as a faculty, if I'm the faculty on the other side, I would be very worried that why do I have to handle such a big classroom? How do I get their attention? How do I get to motivate them to participate in the class? And if I have only 1 hour or 1.5 hours to teach, I'll probably spend the entire 1 hour or 1.5 hours to try and bring them into this mindset. And by the time many of them come to the mindset of learning, the time is up. Right? So every day, I mean, if you're a student, you may or may not appreciate this, but ask the faculty members here, some of them, they are there.
Excuse me, I just want to.
Sure.
I do not know who is taking the photograph, maybe because of the photograph. But it looks a bit,
Yeah.
too much of the classroom looks a bit, what should I say, spread out. Too much spread out classroom.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. The faculty is standing on one side. And the spread out, I mean, there could be a problem in the getting attention and,
Yeah, so you mean the width and the length of the class. Yeah, so that's one. So basically class size, right? So the biggest worrisome factor if I was a faculty would be that the class size is very big, too many students in a batch to teach, and that should worry the students also, right? Also, as I said, students watching, playing games or sleeping or not paying attention, etc. So, and this is very common, right? I've heard that in even top universities in the US and the world, there are some classes which are as big as 300 students, right? So 300 is crazy, right? I mean, you can't teach a classroom which has 300 students, but they say that they do teach something. I don't know what students learn. I don't know who to even blame, whether the administrators, the faculty, students, God knows, So it's somebody has done this, and it's going on, and nobody knows who to blame. But at the end of the day, you're paying a fees and you waste your money, you don't learn anything. Or even if as a faculty, you think that you go there to teach and you come back thinking that I could have done better, right? So it's wasting, actually, in my opinion, I think it's wasting everybody's time. So are we really teaching anything in the MBA classroom, right? That's a big question, but that's why reimagining. So there's a lot of thought and critical thinking that is going around across the world, right? And because people love solutions more than they love the process of solving the problem, they are looking for, so what? What is a better alternative to this, I mean, better alternative, in my opinion, can be as simple as just lock the classrooms, right? Now it will look very absurd and kind of very kind of radical to do that, then, for example, if Professor Datta says that to the principal, the principal will call it to his office and say, if you ask me to lock the classrooms, Professor Datta, how will you get the salary, right? That's the kind of question the administrators will raise, right? And the students will obviously not be bothered because they say it's a classroom to lock the Islam canteen mein baithe, which is what they always wanted to, right? But the worrisome part is are many, right? I mean, the worrisome part is because we see this every day. I see this every day when I go to the class. Of course, I can't see it from the back. From the back, why I've shown you from the back is because as a faculty, we always see from the front. And what you can see from the back is much more than what you can see from the front. Because, they hide behind the desk, which you can't see from the front. What they're doing below the desk level, right? Which is you can't see from the front. So when you see from the top, or rather from the back, you will see all the hidden mobile phones and video games. And there are many, many things that I can't even talk about in this. You get what I'm saying? Public display of affection, PDA, goes to an extreme level when the classroom sizes go high, right? There have been cases which I can't mention, where the PDA has gone to that extreme limit. You know what the extreme limit of PDA is, right? So there has been cases like this when PDA has gone to the extreme limit in the classroom when the faculty was teaching them, right? So of course, classroom is not the best place to do it, but students will do it anyway, right? So my point is very simple. I mean, we don't care where you do it, but don't do it in the classroom, right? Because if there is a place to actually learn. Now, forget about the extreme. You can say, how many times it's happening. You are going to an extreme and all that. But believe me, for last 15 years, I've done my MBA and my PhD. So I spent 2 + 5, 7 years as a student in the B school, and then 15 years as a faculty. 7 years as a student and 15 years as a faculty is 22 years. I spent 22 years of my life inside MBA classrooms, in a way. So in India only, of course, you can say, I've only looked at 3 B schools. I teach in other B schools also, like right now I'm teaching at IIM Kozhikode. So everywhere it's the same, right? So I've taught in several other B schools, IIMs and all that. Everywhere it's the same, right? What is worrisome is not really that, faculty is frustrated everywhere. They don't listen to me. They will not put off their phones. One faculty who's a very old-time veteran in IMC says that every time I ask my students to put off their phone, they give me a bad teaching feedback. And I don't know if you know it as a student or not, because teaching feedbacks matter for the faculty, especially visiting faculty, because they're evaluated on how students are evaluating them. Right? So you are as good as your teaching feedback. Right? So that is why as a student also, if you don't like a faculty, you'll give them a bad feedback so that he's not to be seen anymore. So this is turning out to be, a game which nobody is winning. I mean, I may be biased, of course. There is the data, you can keep questioning that. This is not a scientific study. What I'm saying is a very small, experience. I may be biased and all that. So you can always question that. But it can't be that wrong, because if you see a lot of other management educators also talk about it, that at the end of the day, you're spending, I mean, you go to an IIM, they'll charge you 25, 26, 27 lakhs, depending on which place you go. You go to ISB to do an MBA, they'll charge you 40 lakhs. 1 year, 40 lakhs. MBA in IIMs will charge you 27 lakhs for 2 years. So you're spending very, very high amount of money of your dad's purse or mom's purse on getting an MBA education, and maybe 1 year or 2 years of your life, but what are you getting out of it? And the sad part that I find is not just the faculty who's given up, but more importantly, the students. Because the faculty is not paying the fees, the students are paying the fees, right? So on one hand, and I'll show that in subsequent slides, and on one hand, students are becoming a little demanding, but their demands is not matched by their behaviors. They behave in irresponsible ways and they demand in responsible ways. So they'll say, I don't want to study from this teacher because she is not a good teacher. I want to study from that sir because he is a good sir, which is fine. But when that sir who you are saying is a good teacher teaches you, are you learning? You are not. So, and of course, I'm not generalizing. There are exceptions, and there are always say 5 or 10% exceptions. But I'm talking about that bottom 90%, not bottom, but the remaining 90% or 85%, who are. I mean, why am I saying it? Because if you are not responsible as a student, how can you be responsible as a person? If you're behaving irresponsible in the classroom, we don't expect you to behave irresponsible as an employee, or as a father, or a mother, or a brother, or a sister, or whoever, right? So this is not a finger pointing here. I'm just saying, just think about it. As students, when they are paying high amount of fees, and you're demanding, I want to learn from the best teachers and all that, whatever that else you demand, which is fine, it should be demanded. It's like a tango, right? It's like a tango. There's a saying that says it takes two to tango. Yes, tango is a dance, right? If you ever done a tango or any dance, right? Where it's a dual dance or dual dance, I don't know what they call it. It takes two to tango. Right? There's a saying, or it takes two hands to clap. So learning in the classroom or without a classroom, learning is if there's a teacher and if there is a student in the class or wherever they are learning, and whichever medium they are learning, if there is a student and a teacher, it takes two to tango. So, undergrad education is even worse. So anyway, so I it may look like I'm being extremely critical, but let me tell you this. What I'm saying is I'm not even scratching the surface. Undergrad education is in utter deep shit. Utter deep shit. So I decided not to talk about it. It's in a very bad shape. I'm talking about the glamorous MBA education, which is still better off, which itself is in a bad shape. So that we don't talk about shit, we talk about glorified shit, right? So, so this is what I'm saying, because many of you, I was escorted by two student volunteers, one of, maybe they are MBA aspirants. So I was sharing some notes there also that anyway, so what I'm saying is anyway it's even more true for undergrad education, because I've heard of a lot of private B schools where undergrad students consume even drugs in the class, when the class is on. They are getting a high while the class is on. And these are not one incident. There are several cases. I'll not name the university, right? So academic community is very small. Every faculty member of all colleges know each other almost, more or less. Almost everybody knows everybody else. It's that bad. So anyways, but that's not the point of discussion. So I was just using MBA education to, of course, highlight some of the things. So just to highlight that, yes, faculty is responsible if you don't learn. Yes, administrators are responsible, principal, director, dean, vice principal, whoever are responsible if you don't learn, but also the students are responsible if you don't learn. In 15 years as a faculty, all I've heard, whenever I hear a student coming back to ask me about a question that he has not got an answer right because he has not got the marks, he did not get the marks because he did not get the answer right. In 15 years, I may have taught maybe 10,000, no, maybe 5,000-6,000 students. Not a single of those 6,000 students ever came back. Many of them come back, but not one came back to say, can you tell me why this question answer is wrong, and can you tell me what to write? What would be a good answer according to you? Not one. But there are hundreds of students who come back and say, why have you given me 1.5 marks in this? I deserve at least 3. And then I come back and tell them that, can you give me a good argument as to why you think you deserve 3 marks? And then they will say that I think I deserve more marks because I want a B plus. Right now I'm getting a B. I said the only reason you think this wrong answer should be marked as right is because you wish for a B plus. I wish you studied for a B plus. I wish you wrote an answer for a B plus. Some of them go up and start begging, sir, give me a B plus. मुझे को exchange के लिए जाना है, मेरी girlfriend मेरे को reject कर देगी, मेरे पापा मेरे को छापड़ मार देंगे, or whatever else that keeps happening in life. Because my buddy has got a B plus, because B looks very bad on my grade sheet, I have to go to US for my masters, or anything else that matters in your life. Every single year, this cannot be an exception, right? Every single year, there will be some 10-20% students coming back, and every time they will say, मेरे को ज़्यादा number दे दो क्योंकि मेरे को ज़्यादा number चाहिए. Give me more marks because I want more marks. And I tell them I will not give you more marks because I tell you why what you got is more than what you should be given. I remember I did my PhD from Ahmedabad, who taught me to be extremely thick-skinned, and we teach our students in IIM Calcutta in a very, very caring way, because that is the culture of IIM Calcutta, that we are almost like their second parents. I didn't bargain to be their second parent, but that's what I'm expected to do, right? But in Ahmedabad, the culture was very different. So I remember in first year when I was in PhD, I was sitting in an MBA classroom doing my first year MBA, without my wishing to do it. I was already in MBA. And then I was asked to do the MBA again first year because the waiver was not given. So I spent 1 year as an MBA student in first year in Ahmedabad. So I got used to that MBA classroom culture in Ahmedabad, which was extremely stressful. So I remember in one of the quizzes of finance, finance quiz happened, and then the marks came out, and then the faculty was arranged for what is called a paper showing. I'm sure you know what a paper showing is. So the paper showing session, I still remember I was trying to figure out कि मैं कौन सा question में I could bargain with the faculty कि give me more marks because I got a C plus, and I was still is the best candidate to bargain for marks. And then next to me was a girl who just came and told the faculty, and he was a very stalwart finance faculty, that sir, you have given me 2 marks out of 10 in this question. So the faculty says, yes, I can see that. Then she says, sir, my question is, why have you given me 2 marks out of 10? And the faculty then thinks about it and said, out of sheer pity, you deserve 0. And and so this is a critical reflection. So I'll not go on and on the same point. My point is sufficiently elaborated using the different examples that consistently we see students behaving like consumers. That we are paying the fees, and I will demand a grade. I'll give you fees, you give me grade. Just like Netaji said, you give me blood, I'll give you freedom. Now Netaji can say all that. You give me blood, I'll give you freedom. Netaji can do all that. You can't do that. I have given you fees to give me the grade. It is not a birthright. Then faculty can also say, you give me the answer, I will give you the grade. Instead of saying, as a student, you should say, sir, I will give you the answer, you give me the grade. But I've never heard a single student say that. Students say, I have given the fees, you give me the grade. Year after year after year. So I'm saying, so management education is in deep shit, partly also because the people who have chosen to join the journey as a beneficiary, students are beneficiaries of learning. Teachers are not beneficiaries, they're not learning. I mean, they're also learning, but they're not there to learn, they're there to impart the learning. So the beneficiaries of learning are demanding the wrong thing. You're demanding the marks. You're demanding the jobs. Are you demanding the learning? Are you demanding the learning? Learning is not like going and buying a rose for your girlfriend. It is not like going and buying a chocolate that fills your stomach. Learning is about taking the pain of getting your hands dirty and learning the hard way. Not mugging up the answer on page number 42, रट ले तेरे को कल लिख दे तू पास हो जाएगी. That's not learning. या टाइम इज रनिंग आउट, टीए उधर देख रही है तो जल्दी से खोलना अपना आंसर मेरे को दिखाना जल्दी से. That is not learning. That's cheating. Learning is when you sit on your desk and keep reading the same thing 10 times and still not struggling out, and then taking an appointment to the faculty who gives you a appointment at 7 o'clock in the evening and you skip your dinner to eat his mind just to understand how this ISLM curve behaves. आयुष का बहुत लंबा मीटिंग चला. When the team came back, she was snoring on the desk with such a loud noise. You know how the snoring noise looks like, sounds like, right? So I'm not, see again, this is not a fingerprinting game, right? She might be tired. Maybe she did do a hard job last night and she did not sleep. 100 excuse. I don't know the background. I'm not responsible for her behavior. But how did the IIM team behave? They fired, I mean, fired not in that firing, but like hit her on the knuckles or whatever, that firing. How can you snore on the desk? How can you sleep on the desk? He just told you, wait, we'll be back. Behavior. Now you can say that, oh, I didn't realize, I fell asleep. That shows your responsibility. That shows your character. If you are feeling sleepy, leave a note, go to wherever you want and take a sleep. Or wherever. Go home, leave a note, or do whatever. Take a call. Right? So people are watching you. You will think, hey, nobody's watching me, let me steal something, let me cheat something. No. You can't escape. That's the character. Right? Build a character. Don't just build your CV, more marks, more grades, better job, better salary, which is okay. No harm in asking. Deserve it. How hard have you put to get that job? How hard have you put to get the A plus? How hard have you worked to get into whatever, whichever IIMs or whichever college, Oxford, Cambridge, whichever college you dream of? Forget about whether you deserve it. I'm not even asking. That's none of the business. If I get it, I get it. I don't care whether I deserve it. I'm not even asking whether you deserve it. I'm saying, how hard have you worked to get it? Whether you deserve it or not is a different story. You will be lucky. Good for you. But if you employ unethical methods, you have done the believe me, nobody will touch you. Nobody will touch you if you don't have a character. A lot of my students have got sacked. So I was once visiting Nokia. They called me for giving some Gyan session. Like Xavier have called me to give some Gyan. So I was in Nokia Eastern Region Distributor Meet, and my session was about to start, and we were having some lunch. So in the lunch, I met some Nokia distributors. So one of my ex-students was in Nokia. So randomly, this guy in Western India, I just randomly asked him, about that guy. His name was Akash. I said, "Oh, do you know Akash?" So incidentally, he knew, right? And then I said full name this and all that. So we connected. So we realized that my ex-student Akash was he was a manager also. Then I asked the manager, "Where is Akash? How is Akash?" He was my student and all that. His face started becoming very weird, weird or whatever. I said, "What happened? Did I ask you anything wrong?" I mean, I just asked, how is Akash? So then he was kind of fumbling, and then he said, "Okay, tell me what happened." He said, "Sir, he was asked to leave." So I said, "Why?" So he said, "Sir, this is what happened." So he joined in sales in Nokia, and in I think 1 month he comes back to management and says, I don't want to do sales, I want to do strategy. तो बोलते बच्चे तुझे strategy पता है क्या होती है? What is strategy? No, I'm done with sales. Are you done with sales in 1 month? No, I have to pick up those petty and all that, the cartons and all that. I'm tired of looking at the distributor. I've learned whatever I have to learn. And then he was sent to HR that, go and mentor him. This is not the way that he should be behaving. And then they told him, see, we told you a career path that you have to spend 3 years in sales and you have to learn. Nobody can learn sales in 1 month. Anything. You can't learn anything in 1 month, right? I mean, you have to get your hands dirty. Now, this guy was showing his attitude because he was asked to pick up the cartons, mobile phone cartons and other cartons at the distributor premises, which is you do it in any way. And he used to say, I'm Calcutta, I'm not going to do that. You are the distributor, you go and do that. That's not acceptable. This feedback was taken once this was seen. This feedback was taken from the distributors. Can you imagine? Distributors feedback. So I want to talk to you about Akash. So what is your feedback about Akash? Because then it was decided that this thing was glaringly coming out that this guy is out of sync. Whatever the corporate philosophy, corporate culture. And then feedback was taken and then it was mentored. And he consistently said, "Nahi, sales nahi karna." So, so he was mentored into saying that this is not the way to. We'll give time to this thing and all that. So, anyways, so I'm saying that your attitudes and your behaviors are also very, very important. Your character is very, very important. So just make sure that you don't land yourself in a soup, right? Because of your immaturity, which again I'm not trying to blame. It is the age. So it is your age which leads you to behave very often in an impulsive, immature way, and that shows in your classrooms. Like the guys who are watching video games, do you think they don't have any other time to play video games? Of course, they have a lot of time. Then it is their choice that they have decided that I will play video games in the classroom. That's a decision you have taken. You could have taken another decision that I will play video games 10 minutes before I go to sleep. This is a classroom. My playing of the video game in the class not only disrespects the faculty, but also wastes the money that I invested in my education. This is the time to learn. And if you think that you know everything that the faculty is teaching, at least show the respect to the faculty. And don't do all that. Or don't come to the class. Right? So that's why I'm saying that, in education, it takes two to tango. Two to tango. Very often, as a faculty, I'm tired of hearing faculty padhati nahi hai, usko padhana nahi aata hai. Of course, there are faculty members who don't know how to teach. They need mentoring as well. I'm not denying that. But how is it happening in every faculty, even the star faculty in IIM Calcutta, I've seen it in Ahmedabad, XLRI, I'm a PGP from XLRI, I've seen it in a lot of places. I go to, as I said, 10 different B schools. Everywhere, students are disengaged. Of course, part of it is my fault as a faculty. Agreed. However, it is not entirely faculty. The classrooms are nice, they're air conditioned, whatever else, when everything is given to them. Not everything maybe, but they are pretty comfortable in the campus. I've seen campus lives. Food is not bad, hostel is not bad, classrooms are nice. They're generally treated well by the faculty and the B school. They're pampered actually. But when they come to the classroom, they behave as if they are doing the faculty a favor. You're not doing any favor to the faculty by coming to the classroom. And neither are you a consumer, right? Just because you are given a fees doesn't make you a consumer. It takes two to tango. Again, as I said, it takes two to tango. Let me just, and therefore, why am I saying all this? Is because your life doesn't start and doesn't stop in the college or the B school or wherever. So I'm talking MBA education. So in a B school, you're preparing yourself for the real life. If you are industry oriented, the industry will like to see who you are, your character and the skills. So these are the articles from World Economic Forum 2016. This list looks very scary. Changing nature of work, flexible work, mobile internet, cloud technology, all that, AI has come and all that, climate change, geopolitical volatility, what Trump is saying these days about Gaza and all that, right? Things are very volatile. And then there are privacy issues, data issues, ethical issues, the technology like IoT, and then the concept like, the sharing economy and all of that, all the buzzwords that you see there. The world is changing very fast. Are you building those skills? Of course, again, I'm talking from two sides. As a faculty, are we helping you to build that skill? As a student, independent of faculty, are you building the skill? Of course, faculty should help, B school should help, but if they don't, they can't teach you everything, right? So are you investing your time in that? Or are you investing time in showing PDA and playing video games? I'm not saying you have personal life, show the PDA that you want. Or whatever you want to show. Right? There is a life, right? There is a life that you should live. You should have your love life, you should be a good son, you should be a good friend. Everything should be there, life should be full. But are you also, you should also have a career, right? That's what I'm assuming. This or any of the things. This is just a list. This may be relevant, not relevant. That's your choice. Economics, finance, whatever you want to go, whatever skills are required. Do you really know how industry works? Otherwise you go and figure out how industry works, right? And build yourself. Develop some skills. There are free courses. So the other day somebody wanted to do an AI course. I called up my colleague and said, "Yeah, AI का course कैसे करना है?" I had no idea AI क्या होता है, AI course क्या होता है. And then he gave me some 5-minute tutorial, and he taught me how to go to this site run by Andrew Ng. Andrew Ng is the founder of OpenAI. Sorry, not OpenAI, the AI concept, and he runs free courses. So there are free courses by Andrew Ng, the entire set of AI courses that you can do, programming on art, blah blah blah, whatever that you want to do. And most of it is there. But plus, if you're willing to pay a little bit of money, you can pay a little bit of money and do that and learn. And I'm sure that if you don't learn despite all this in the classroom, even if you don't learn in the classroom because I am attentive but everybody is distracted, I understand that can happen. Then go and pick the brains of your faculty outside the classroom. How many of us do that? I've not seen one student coming to me in my office just to say कि सर मेरे को ये नहीं आता, ये आप सिखा दो. One PGP. Recently, 2 years back, I met a girl, a student. I was impressed with her attitude. I taught her in first year. She's a PhD student. She was sitting in the MBA classroom. And I was a PhD chair also. I mean, a chairperson of PhD program. So I knew the PhD students very well. And I knew कि वो लड़की वहाँ बैठी थी, वो पूरा उसको कुछ समझ में नहीं आता. If I can take the liberty of saying all this. उसको कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा था. And I knew about it. She was almost blank. She came from a very, should not say this, but a tier 2 city, tier 2 town. Nothing wrong in that. I am also from a tier 2 town. Hindi medium or whatever, vernacular language. Nothing is wrong in that, right? She had the courage to cross all the hurdles and sit in the classroom, which is full of affluent and privileged students. Most of them are very privileged and affluent. And I finished my course, MM1, Marketing Management 1, and from first to the last class, I could look at her face and say, कि आज की class with one bounce सकती शायद. But it's okay. I thought, if you want to learn, you will find a way. So I used to mentor her because as a PhD chair, I told her, go and take help of the PGP students. Some of them are very bright, take tutorials. So in PGP hostels, they do tutorials on subjects if you want to learn anything. So I told her, go and take tutorials. There are bright students who can take tutorial. At least you will not fail. One more, when the ship was sinking very much for her, and we have a rule that if you fail a number of courses, you are kicked out, right? You are asked to leave. And she realized that she was on the brink of that. The semester was ending. She comes to me and says, "Sir, I tried. I'm in a deep soup. आप जो बोलोगे मैं करूंगी, जितनी मेहनत करेंगी मैं करूंगी, मैं पढ़ूंगी. I don't want to go back." I like that attitude. I still wasn't sure whether she'll pass. The only thing I liked about this thing was the attitude. Not one PhD student ever came and said, "सर मेरे को बता दो क्या करना है मैं करूंगा, आप गाइड करो मैं करूंगा, मैं करूंगा, जो भी करना होगा मैं करूंगा. Whatever it takes." I have not seen one PGP student. It may be a accidental or whatever, bias sample. Possibly there are. I'm not saying therefore there aren't. There may be. I have not met. She eventually scraped through. Not a great student. Just passed. Now in second year. I still don't know whether she'll pass second year or not. But I like that attitude. I will do whatever it takes. I'll make sure I give my best. If I sink, I go back home. How many of you are pushing yourself to that brink? Right? So that's what I'm saying, that you have to learn. There is nobody can make you learn, right? Nobody can make you learn. Even as a faculty, I've been teaching this subject, same subject for the last 15 years. Every time I go to a classroom, I think the biggest scare is कि अगर वो स्टूडेंट ने मेरे से अगर वो वाला कैंपेन डिस्कस किया, whatever campaign, let's say there's a or suppose say Godrej has rebranded, right? And I'm into a branding class, and I have read about the Godrej branding, but I have not read the whole article. I was in a hurry, and my biggest scare is that if there's one student who has read it up to that level, and he asked me a question that requires that level of analysis, I have not come prepared for that. What would I say? Of course, I would say that, you meet me afterwards. We'll talk about it. I have not read it. That is what still scares me. What if he asks me? What if he knows more about me? There are a lot of students who know a lot about the subject or topic than we do. I have no shame in learning from them. So learning even goes on. As a faculty, my age is 50 plus. I've been teaching for 15 years, but every time I enter into the classroom, I make sure that I at least try and learn something. I make sure that, I don't put egg on my face, that I'm adequately well prepared. At least I know something about the thing that I'm going to talk about, whatever I've written that on the slide, or the film that I'm going to show, or the examples I'm going to give, or the case study that we are going to discuss. I better know at least what I'm saying. So do you know what you are saying? Unfortunately, students don't prepare themselves. Case studies they give, they don't read. Right? Reading material that they give, they don't read. We ask question for some. I was telling my friends who were escorting me from my home to this campus. I was talking about the MBA admissions interview. 90% of the students don't even understand the question. They don't even understand the question. And some of the panel members there got so frustrated. I remember I was in an interview in Bombay, and candidate after candidate we were getting who were not even understanding the question. They said something is wrong with us. Maybe we are dumb or we are idiots. We don't know how to ask a question. And then we looked at each other. How can we change our questioning? Maybe something is wrong. Then we said fine. And then we did some change in strategy, and then we asked the questions again, and again the same thing. And then we realized, no, maybe not everything is not wrong with us. There is students have their own answers which are ready, and no matter what you ask, they'll shoot it. And one of the panel members got so frustrated. He said that, "Are you, So I once I asked a question, and then the answer came, which was something which went beyond. And then the panel member next to me said, "You're answering a question which has not been asked." I like the way he put it. Many of the students in the exams are writing an answer which has not been asked. Answer to the question which has not been asked. So that's the only thing that they can write about, right? So that means, are you being honest in your effort? Before you point fingers to the faculty and the principal and the vice principal and the dean and the vice dean and Modi and Amit Shah and everybody else that you can point fingers, because you have the right to do that, being a democratic country, point fingers at everybody. But also maybe not a bad time to start asking yourself that, am I doing a good job? Am I trying good enough? Right? Am I trying good enough? I remember that film, that movie of Dhoni. What was that called? MS Dhoni, whatever. Sorry? MS Dhoni. There was one scene I liked specifically where Dhoni was Dhoni was still not a cricketer. He was a ticket collector. And you could see in the film, Sushant Singh Rajput acted so well. There's one scene where he's hating himself that, why am I doing this? I'm not made for this. And he knew that his heart is in cricket. And there was one scene where, he goes grudgingly to his office, and the job is that, there are two trains coming on different platforms. This is the list for this train. This is the list for that time. They used to stick the passenger list on the train. And something happens, he is in not good frame of mind, and he runs and he does some goof up. He put the list in one train, but the other train, by the time he goes away. And then he comes very disappointed to tell his boss that I put the list on one train, but the other train list has not been put because I missed it. I messed up big time. And I still remember the reaction on the boss's face. No, he's not panicked. He knows there's a backup. He just asks him one thing. He looks at him and he says, "Try kiya tha?" And Sushant Singh Rajput says, "Sir, kiya tha." Pura kiya tha. And actually the movie shows that usne pura try kiya tha. And then Sushant Singh says, "Yes, main pura try." Pakka. And he looks, why is he asking this? He wants to look at the honesty of his effort. And he doesn't say anything. He said, I'm good if you've tried hard enough. So that's what I'm saying, that before you demand, the fee should be reimbursed because the faculty ने कुछ पढ़ाया नहीं, मैं कुछ सीखा नहीं. I remember that I was in Excel 22 years ago. I was in XLRI. There was one student who was struggling to get placed. He wouldn't open his mouth when he was, asked to appear before the interview. I mean, appear in the interview before a recruiter. Only one boy was unplaced in the entire batch. And Placecom was making him go to all companies, desperate to place him so that placements could be closed. And this guy was taken to every interview and he did not open his mouth. And the Placecomers were becoming very frustrated. कि तू बोल तो सही यार. For some reason, I'm not very aware of the facts of the case. Maybe there's some relevant reasons. He just kept mum. Anyway, after a lot of try, he did get placed in some not so whatever, great company. But I remember what happened after that. He got placed on his own. By the time convocation happened, he was still unplaced. And I still remember his father came and met the XLRI is also, a brother-run, Jesuit-run institution like Xavier's. In fact, they are brothers only. So XLRI is also run by the same society, Jesuit. I remember the father came and he was very angry and he met the principal and he said, director, sorry. And he said, XLRI is responsible for his placement. They have not given him the placement. You are responsible for this. And of course, the principal director had done his homework, all the facts, and he said, I've been told that he was made to appear for 24 interview or something. I don't remember. Very large number. He was made to shortlist interviews. We have asked companies to come and look at him, but your son never opened any mouth. He did not answer any question. Who will hire somebody who doesn't even? But he kept insisting. No, we have paid the fees and it was a tacit agreement that he will be given a job. He said, no, there is no guarantee. These schools don't guarantee placements. We facilitate placements. If you are not good enough, nobody will hire you. Plain and simple. Whether you're from Xavier's or you're from whichever SRCC, LSR, St. Stephen's or whichever college, Ashoka, OP Jindal, nobody gives a damn. I remember my relative member who's in Unilever said that one day a young, promising girl comes and joins Unilever in the Ponds team or some team. Very bright, very promising. From Wharton MBA. Wharton MBA. So she had to come back to India, so she got into Unilever and she joined. So she was telling me, my family member, that she just spent one day and left. So I said, one day? And then she said, this is what happened. So she joined in the morning. She was very excited. Whatever, I think Points team. She joined the Points team or something. And then, she was explained what to do, this, that, all that. And then, slowly, she understood, इतना काम करना है. इतना स्ट्रेस नहीं लूंगी मैं. इतना स्ट्रेस नहीं लेती मैं जा रही हूँ. तो बोलते हैं लोग कि जा रही हूँ. As simple as that. Want to go? Go. Nobody gives a damn. Believe me, world has become very cruel place. Very cruel place. This is not good. At least if she was my subordinate, I would say chai pee ke jana. When my student says कि मैं पेटी नहीं उठाऊंगा, पेटी is the carton. Mobile का carton, how heavy it is? There are some 20, 30 phone, maybe 2 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilo. Definitely not more than that. मैं पेटी नहीं उठाऊंगा. I am an MBA from IIM Calcutta. You are the distributor. You will pick it up. मैं MBA हूँ, मैं नहीं करूंगा. This is not the attitude. This is not the attitude. I remember when I was in so-called corporate world, I was working for an auto lubricant company. I was said, whatever it takes. This is your salary. Have you looked at the salary? औकात है तुम्हारी, उससे ज्यादा सैलरी मिल रही है. That's how they used my boss to say. औकात से ज्यादा सैलरी मिल रही है. Job is to not make excuses, get it done. Who's the influencer in auto industry, auto lube industry, lubricant industry? The influencer is unfortunately the mechanic, right? A very unsexy person, the last person who you want to meet and see in your life, who hands are greasy, he doesn't even look like Shah Rukh Khan, right? He's the last person you want to meet. And when you come to him and then he'll say, okay, it's log wait, wait. He'll make you wait for 1 hour. But in the middle of his work, he's opened the tractor engine. He can't just stop it and say, okay, chalo, chai pe de, chalo. He'll say, let me finish. He'll take his sweet time. He can't, he will not even give you a deadline. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. कुछ नहीं. बैठो. छोटू चाय लेके आ. छोटू जब चाय लाता है तो छोटू के हाथ में 4 कप, उंगलियां आधी चाय के नीचे डूबी होती हैं, और वो उंगलियां जो है, those fingers are not in the best of the hygienic condition for some strange coincidence, because Chotu is not fond of hygiene. For some strange coincidence of life, Chotu's fingers are soiled and muddy and greasy. All of that. Which B school will teach you that? B schools, we don't teach all this. You can say faculty ने नहीं बताया कि छोटू की चाय में इतनी ग्रीस होगी. मैंने 25 लाख इसलिए नहीं दिए क्योंकि छोटू की चाय पीऊंगा. मैं तो टी जंक्शन की चाय पीऊंगा. छोटू मेरे लिए टी जंक्शन की चाय लाओ. तो हमने उस गंदे से छोटू की गंदी सी चाय पी के हमने तेल बेचा. Before I put the cup to my lips, I could see the grease shaking on the top of it. तो छोटू को डिस्ट्रैक्ट करते थे. वो देखो वो थोड़ा सा गिरा देता था कि ग्रीस गिर जाए थोड़ी सी. और ग्रीस तो थोड़ी उसमें मिली हुई है. कितना बेवकूफ बनाओगे छोटू को. वो चाय पी के हमने अपनी जवानी खराब की है. Did I deserve that? Of course not. In younger days, I was also dreaming that I will be marooned with Aspharia and I on an island drinking, expensive champagne. I bargained for that today. And what I got was Chotu ki gandi kali chai pina. But Chotu से अगर बात नहीं करोगे, तेल नहीं बिकेगा. Similarly, if you got Asian Paints or any paint company, अगर तुम उससे नहीं, कारपेंटर से नहीं बात करोगे, जिसके हाथ में there are 4 layers of Fevicol, और वो हाथ मिलाता है तो हाथ चिपकते बच जाता है, और उसका Fevicol तुम्हारे हाथ में आ जाता है. This is how Fevicol gets transferred, end-to-end transfer. और तुम उससे हाथ नहीं मिलाओगे तो तुम घंटा बेच पाओगे एशियन पेंट्स का पेंट या Fevicol, Pidilite का Fevicol. You know what is the equity of Fevicol brand among the carpenters? They can die for it. कैसी बनी है इक्विटी? एक अनपढ़ गधे जैसे बोलना नहीं चाहिए, अनपढ़ गधे आदमी के साथ तुमने इतना पावरफुल ब्रांड बनाया है. They can die for Fevicol. इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग ब्रांड है कारपेंटर इन कम्युनिटी में. एशियन पेंट्स की इक्विटी जो पेंटर कम्युनिटी में है, जो कि अनपढ़, जिसको हिंदी में गंवार बोलते हैं, अनपढ़ गंवार कम्युनिटी में अपने एशियन पेंट्स की जो इक्विटी बनाई है, कैसे बनी है, किसने बनाई है? किसी ने तो बनाई है ना. Everybody is reaping benefit out of that. तो हाथ तो गंदे करने पड़ेंगे. बी स्कूल जाते हो डिग्री लेने के, लेट्स सी कि क्या डिग्री मिलती है. So is MBA relevant? Yeah, there's a big debate going on. Is MBA relevant or not? Well, I don't have the answer, but things are changing very fast. There are people like Elon Musk who says, I don't give a shit to the degree. If you can do it, I'll hire you. And that's why he started hiring this 22-year-old Paviki. जिसको उसने हायर किया DOG के लिए, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट एफिशिएंसी इज व्हाट Elon is heading these days, and he's hired a 22-year-old Indian who is now getting cyberstock and told for too young to handle all the American data. But that's what Elon is. Crazy people like Elon don't give a shit to the MBA degree, right? So there is a lot. If you look at the industry, honestly, except for the corporate hiring policies, which forces you to go for MBA degree, BTech degree, this degree, because it's corporatized. If you look at startups, they don't give a damn whether you're healthy or not. What they give a damn about is whether you can get the job done. Do you know the work? If you're in sales, can you sell? If you're in marketing, are you good in that? In finance, are you good with numbers? In AI, etc., can you code? Real skills, not sitting on the desk in a AC room with the Apple what is that called? iMac, drafting emails and opening an Excel sheet. That's not good enough. You will be making a lot of Excel sheets and PPT slides and all that. But is that all? Your insightful thinking, your skills in analysis, right? All those things are very, very important. And then as we say that we're in the threshold of both industrial revolution, right? So as we say that, that we 50%, you will be getting jobs which we don't even know of. Right? So what will we teach in B school when we don't know what jobs will be coming into the industry 10 years from now, right? And then, as I said, there is a glut of B schools. There are too many B schools in India, 1,500, 2,000 B schools. And we keep teaching you finance and marketing and HR and IT and all those things. But that is very generic. And what most people do is they mug it up and vomit in the exams. Just like, and that's why I love this guy who said, my co-panelist, that you're answering a question which has not been asked. Actually, you are. Because you're not listening to the question. Right? So there are questions after questions after questions which are being asked by the industry, which you're not least bothered. Because you're mugging up the book. Because pass it on, I know. If I forget, there's always a good friend to cheat from. But that will not take you very far, right? Because if you don't build the skill, go industry mein jaake, you will not be really be doing very well. But yes, even IIMs have become glorified placement agencies. All these schools have become glorified placement. I'm sure Vegas also helps you to place, right? So it's good that these schools are helping you to get placed. At least try and become deserving of it. And then if you go to B school, there's too much competition, right? Very, very bad competition. Very, very unhealthy competition. Which is not good. So I'm not defending at all. But unfortunate reality is there's too much competition there. Curriculum is very, very heavy, very stressful. Very, very stressful. I mean, again, not good. Not good, but unfortunately, that's how it is. But let me tell you, industry don't care for your knowledge. It cares for the skill. But as a faculty, I can tell you that, both are very important. It's like the difference between a mechanic and an automobile engineer. Mechanic can, repair your car. Automobile engineer cannot repair your car. But the guy who can repair a car doesn't know what he has done, why he has done what he has done. Automobile engineer can tell you how to get it repaired, but he can't. He has no skill to do it. You should be like a combination of a mechanic and automobile engineer who knows how to do it and also knows how it works. Why I did what I did. Right? Let me tell you, skills. There is no substitute for skills, right? And skills are very, very rare. Very rare. If you ask a community of coders, there will be only 2% who are real, genuine, good coders. If you ask a bunch of people who are interested in sales, there will be only maybe 5% people who are really good in sales. If you ask a bunch of people who say I'm interested in marketing, there will be very few people who are cut out for that job. If you ask a bunch of people who are interested in finance, there will be very few people who are really good in finance. So it's very rare skills, to build skills, right? And similarly, in the MBA classroom, as they say, I mean, we are very fond of CAT, and many of you may end up giving that. So there's too much of homogeneity, too many engineers, lack of diversity, very low level of, in IIM Calcutta, we have around 30-35% females, but that's again much less than 50%. And unfortunately, the curriculum, I'm afraid of kind of telling you that even in IIMs, the curriculum is not getting revised every year, or it should be. It's not possible also, the process is very long. It takes 10 years to revise it. Unfortunately, it's not even 5 years, right? No matter what they say. And the ranking, don't trust the rankings. Don't trust the rankings. These school rankings are the least said, the better. Usually manipulated, unethical. I don't want to take names, but we know what goes behind it. All rankings. false reporting of data by the B schools because it's not audited, it's self-reported. And this lacuna is misused. A lot of IIMs are misreporting their numbers and rising high in the rankings. So don't go by rankings. But yeah, that's a game that they're playing. Also, don't believe placement reports very seriously. They're all cooked up. You see the higher salary. You know, you may not get that salary. So how are you getting impressed by the higher salary? You may look at the median salary. Your salary may be below the median. Or you're looking at the mean salary. Your salary may actually be below the mean. Right? So don't just choose this basis the median, mean, or whichever number that you're placing. So and also don't believe everything that is written in the placement. I can't divulge more than that because you guys are doing live streaming, and for all my director might be watching and will come back and ask me a difficult question. But all I can say is don't believe what you see. Check and validate. Placement reports are mostly false. Rankings are entirely false. Right? So perceptions can be faulty. Right? So do a research. Right? Do a genuine research. Believe in hard work. Do your research, believe in hard work, build your networks, right? Be genuine in what you know and what you don't know. If you don't know, please open your mouth and say, I don't know. Full stop. Never ever I've seen any candidate in the last 15 years. I go to several interviews again. Next week I'm going to Mumbai for interviews. We interview 20 candidates a day, multiplied by 3 days, multiplied by 15 years. So 20 into 3 into 15, whatever, thousands of students, candidates we have seen. Not one, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe one, just 5, 10 out of 2,000 will open their mouth to a question when they don't know the answer. They open their mouth rarely to say, sir, I don't know. I've seen only, I think, 10 max candidates in last 15 years in 2000. So 10 out of 1,000 is not even 1%, or just about 1%. Just 1% of the candidates are honest in saying, I don't know the answer to your question. Simple as that. People do rampant bluffing, rampant. I think again, a polite way of countering that is when my co-panelist very nicely said, you are answering a question which has not been faking. I was telling your friends who helped me to come here to campus how rampant is faking. Fake certificates, false certificates, and where there is no proof, you would say, I know Taekwondo. So CVs, busy polishing CVs, right? This point. The moment you enter a B school, all your seniors will teach you is keep polishing CVs, keep polishing CVs. All the time they're polishing their CVs. Ek finance ka CV, ek marketing ka CV, ek HR ka CV, ek IT ka CV. This is what you guys also do in Xavier, right? I know what's going on in every college. So good, it gets you the job. But please be honest in the CV. I remember, my son is also an undergrad student, so I know what goes on in the undergrad market. So one of his friends, developed a LinkedIn profile and he sends me and says, Uncle, can you have a look at my LinkedIn profile and give me some feedback? So I said, sure. So I normally don't do that because I know LinkedIn is another fake thing, completely misleading platform, right? But since he was a good friend of my son, so I said, I think I better base though. So I looked, the moment I clicked on it, it opened and there was a photograph with a name. And there is a place in LinkedIn, not just below your photo and name, it says what are your chief skills or main skills. And this guy who is hardly 19 says, I'm a life coach. मैंने कहा लाइफ तो साले तुमने देखी ही नहीं है कोच कब बन गई ये बताओ So I told him that this is serious. I must give you this feedback. So मैंने कहा see, I mean you can't write a life coach. You are 90. You have not even seen a life. अंकल सबको दिखते हैं मैंने कहा लिखो तुम्हारी मम्मी को बोल दूंगा मैं that work. So I called up his mom and I said, see, tell him that that's a very sorry figure. Now what is happening, and why am I quoting this is not to embarrass this guy who I have not named, not to do that. Is because there is a herd mentality. So I learned from him that uncle sab karte hain, so it becomes acceptable. No, it doesn't. Everybody, whenever I open the LinkedIn, I get depressed, very honestly. Because every person is a life coach, is a mentor, is a CEO coach, is a TEDx speaker. मैंने कहा TEDx पे तो स्पीकर को बुलाता भी नहीं है, तो पहले कहाँ जाके बोलते हो यार? तुम कौन से TEDx में जाके बोलते हो? तो मेरे को ये बताओ जरा. Every goddamn person is a TEDx speaker. मैंने कहा रिकॉर्डिंग दिखाओ जरा. It has become bullshit. Actually bullshit. Absolute bullshit. You know, LinkedIn is a garbage can. Garbage can. But still you have to be on that, right? Still get internship offered, believe me, it works. But it's a garbage can. Don't trust that data. So all I'm saying is, the biggest shot of that is, don't fake. FAKE also, and Hindi wala fake also. Feekna mat. For example, I keep hiring interns, and some of the interns that did his internship in some company, and he writes in his CV, I was responsible single-handedly for a turnover of 4,500 crores, some atrocious number. You know, I did a turnaround for companies which ran into profitability of 666 crore. मैंने कहा सारे को पता भी कितने जीरो लगते हैं इसमें. तुम सारे दूध के दाग तुम्हारे टूटे नहीं है. You are responsible for 6,000 crore of turnover. मैंने कहा bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Please don't do that. I was very particular when I went back to see what he has written, we or I. He has written I. I was as an intern in 2 months. You are responsible for so many crores of turnover. I mean, are you that good? I had to see you left his chair and said, "Tu बैठ जा, तू कर इसको, अब मेरे से तो नहीं हो पाएगा." Think what you are writing, right? Now, ragging is a criminal offense. That is the only reason why I did not drag him. These guys should have been properly oriented, you know. They are living in a very, different world. I mean, God knows, anyways. So, and there are a lot of changes happening in the MBA program. It is doing 1 year also. And by the way, Masters Union, which is about to close down, that's what I heard. Or even the others which have closed down, like Stoya or something. They are further crunching this 1 year into 15-day MBA or 10-day MBA or something. I don't know how can you know. We find it difficult to teach things in 2 years. 2 years भी कम पड़ जाता है. Because they say that it runs very fast. MBA is very, very fast. All with no depth. 10-day MBA कैसे करेंगे? God only knows, right? And more importantly, that's another sad news that curriculum is so Western in nature. Everything that you learn is coming from the West, written by some Western scholars, Western faculty, Indianized by some Indian faculty. Unfortunate. That's not your fault, that's our fault. But unfortunate. So what you learn is probably not even very relevant. It is, but kind of at certain level. Beyond that, it is irrelevant. Right? Because the context is North American, right? And this is another problem of MBA education. Too many PPT slides. Even I have come with PPT slides, right? And all we teach you is how to make a PPT slide, and then we'll put students, ki jao slide presentation karo, and then, change slides, and many times they'll read from the slide. You saying something? No, okay. So yeah, you should know how to present using the slide deck, but don't become a slave of this. But this is too much. The B school culture is too much, kind of biased towards that. PPT slide, Excel sheet. But I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm saying that is okay. You should know how to make a slide and present using the slide. But at least know what you're saying. That to me, that is the golden rule. Do you know what you're saying? 90% of the time, students have no clue what they say. No clue. See, I'll tell you why. Because when they come to MBA, I think 50% of them have no work experience. But we make them learn about things they have no clue about, like sales, marketing, finance. They've never done selling. They've never been to sales department. They don't know how a salesman looks like. They don't know how to sell. They don't know what marketing does. They've never done branding. They've never done pricing. They've never done anything. Like in accounting, we teach them how to balance a balance sheet, but they've never done that. They've never looked at a real company balance sheet. For example, when you say, these are assets, right? I mean, what does it mean? They really don't know. They really don't know what is the depreciation of an asset in real world. Why is it a cost? They really don't know why the one particular method of depreciation versus another way of depreciation. What is the nuance? Where is it coming from? Of course, everything cannot be known. But what I'm saying is because our students are not having an experience, when they come and sit in the classroom, they just mug it up. What else can you do? But that's partly our fault because we should take students only when they have experience because you have no clue. So when we teach OB in the classroom, we talk about motivation and teamwork and group dynamics and self and teams and groups and all that. People like it because it's very interesting, but they have no clue, like, what is it? Like, I mean, how is a team motivated? And all this, what they study is just very theoretical, right? So this is a negative side of it that for example, in top schools in the world, even though they say the minimum experience is not mandatory, but you'll end up, if you end up in a classroom like Harvard, there are 90 students in a class into, I think, 10 sections. 90 is again very high. That is negative. But, almost everybody has experience. And the diversity that you see in that class, is lovely. Like, for example, there may be a failed startup guy sitting next to maybe a guy who worked in investment bank like Goldman Sachs, sitting next to a pianist, and next to that might be a sculptor. The guy next to him might be somebody who was in selling or something. Mixed, and next to him might be a dancer. Very, very different mix of students, right? So you get diversity in the class and all that, right? And I'm a big fan of this, even though nobody else would be a fan. Students want placement on the campus, but I think this is the biggest thing. Campus placement. Campus placements are the biggest problem that we think are the reason why learning is not taking place. Right? Students are only making CVs. They're only appearing for jobs all the time throughout those 2 years. They're only concerned about the placements and they are not interested in learning. So this is, just to summarize, thank you very much. I've exceeded my time. If you have any questions, we have very limited time for, but in case you have any quick questions, we can still take those questions. Goodbye then. Yeah, I think that's a question. Yeah. Yes, please.
So over the last 30 minutes, you stated that places like LinkedIn, etc. There's a lot of falsified information.
Yeah.
Which you have told us not to believe. So could you just give us some insights as to if we happen to really be able to vet somebody and we have to read a CV or say something that's equivalent to that? Anything that we can look for? Or what are the things you should actually pay attention to be able to identify or how to vet that person?
Are you talking from the side of the recruiter or the whose perspective are you talking about? See, because recruiters are hiring, vetting agencies are being hired by recruiters who do the, they research each of the things written on the CV and they check whether it's correct or not. They verify that. That is done when you are hiring and that candidate is seriously in the fray. At some point before they hire him, they will wait and check if it is done. So even in FaceCom, they have a mechanism to do that. But LinkedIn is, it's free for all, right? So you can't trust everything that is on LinkedIn. But when companies ask for applications, they have their own performer for getting information that they get it vetted. So the third party, I still remember, there was the third party agency writing to me saying that your student in 2012, he says that he got placed in campus on so and so date, on so and so company. Can you verify? So I had to send that mail to the placement office. They checked it and then they verified and they sent it. So like this, every point you write is verified. That is done. This is very normal. This is from the recruiter's point of view. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions you have? I think we don't have time, but still, in case you have, you can also get.
So with that, we come to the end of the session. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and taking up the session so wonderfully. It has been really a very engaging session. Thank you, students, for being patient listeners. Thank you to the technical support. They have been very much actively supporting the entire session to run smoothly. Thank you.
Yeah.